Welcome to another episode of podcast. Yeah. Woo.
Oh my god, you're so tired that you got like triple eyelid.
Yeah, when I'm tired, I add one eyelid per hour per night unrest. I got triple eyelid. Welcome to another episode of podcast. Today the episode will be about
I thought we were just reading Reddit stories.
But we chose a specific topic area, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess this is also inspired by you because you watched the show.
Yeah, but it's been 2 weeks now.
What's the show called?
Adolescent?
Adolescence.
I think it's adolescent or adolescence.
Yeah. Are you able to summarize what the show is about without too much spoiler? It's a show on Netflix right now, right?
Yeah, I think it's still on Netflix. It's 4 episodes. Then it's just looking at, not a spoiler because it's right there in the title. I mean, not in the title, but in the description of a teenage boy, like a 13-year-old boy who murdered another 13-year-old girl or something, and the fallout from his arrest.
But it's not really based on true story, but
no,
they
not.
Inspired from true events, I suppose.
I don't think so.
No?
It's just inspired by real life, I guess. Yeah. Rooted in what could happen.
Yeah. But typically this in the show you realize the boy seems like he's an incel. So maybe we can start with the term what is an incel.
Okay, I guess ChatGPT has given that to you.
Okay, so incel is actually the term for it's a short form for involuntarily
Involuntarily celibate.
celibate. Yeah. Welcome to podcast.
This is like me trying to I was struggling to pronounce abnormal shit.
Abnormality.
You see, it's not easy to pronounce, right?
Abnormality, no,
Abnormality.
it's very easy.
Abnormality.
Involuntarily.
Celibate.
Thoroughly. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got it. The thing is, sometimes there are some words, if you focus too much on the spelling, then suddenly you don't know how to pronounce it. But off the head, you can pronounce it quite well. Yeah, so, and what does celibate means? Means avoidance of sex.
I guess it just means not having sex.
Not having sex.
Yeah.
Don't want to have sex.
Not don't want to have sex, it's just you're abstaining from sex.
Okay. So, yeah. So, I think this term has been quite common in the past few years, I guess. Maybe not just a few years. It's been around for quite a while.
It's an internet culture thing, yeah.
But it's a behavior that is, I guess, not new.
No.
Yeah, but I think the way that we kind of define it is relatively new to people lah. I think the behavior has been around for a while.
It's just using the term.
Yeah, using the term in a way.
Yeah.
I would think that actually, if you tell the older generation about this term, they probably wouldn't get it also.
But if you describe the behavior, then they'll be like, oh yeah, they get it.
Yeah, maybe. But I guess it's a different time lah, cause now you have a lot more influence by social media and media.
Yeah.
So
people those alpha male.
Sigma male
shit that also, I guess, fuel this incel behavior.
But I think, if I'm not wrong, the term has evolved over time lah. But right now, the way that when we use incel is a lot more on guys who usually it's guys, and usually it is associated with communities or online communities who harbors a lot of the misogynistic views, right? It also need to make clear that not all people who involuntarily celibate, is that a verb?
Celibate.
Celibate
Celibate is adjective.
Noun. Adjective means
descriptor.
Celibate. So celibate human being.
Yeah. Like a nun is celibate, a priest could be celibate. I don't know.
So not all of them have these views lah. Basically, what I'm trying to say.
Huh?
Not all people
Incels.
who avoid having sex are people with misogynistic
Basically,
views.
incels are people who wish they could have sex, but they don't have access to it, right? Kind of, right?
In some ways,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Why do you need to? Why do you feel the need to?
clarify.
Yeah.
Not because it's like I'm assuming like everybody who
Don't have sex.
don't have sex
like
are
that.
incels.
Yeah, but incels is just that group of people. What?
Okay lah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we
I think people who
narrowly.
abstain from sex for like I don't know religious or personal reasons wouldn't call themselves incels
Okay, so
because
we
they're not involuntary.
yeah. So we narrowly define this group of people lah.
who say they're involuntarily celibate.
Do you know of any incels
No, I don't think so.
in school days in army thing? I think I told you before. Like I can understand the
Mindset.
incel perspective and
Yeah.
mindset. Not saying that I was one, but I guess like growing up as a guy and when you grow up and you're not a good looking person and people always tell you like you don't have to worry about not getting girls now because they will tell you as long as you're successful and rich, girls will flock to you. That's the narrative that you
guys
get.
get.
Yeah, you get you get fed with lah. Or there's also the other term of like as long as you're nice to girls, you're a nice person, girls will like you. So that's what you get to hear from. Can you be a bit gentler when you put it down?
Oh,
Yeah. Should we put the?
that's why I asked you if we should put that, and then you're like, don't need.
But then you went dong.
What the? I asked you whether need or don't need. Okay. You don't.
Why you
come
got
and blame
two?
me.
So how many do you need?
I need two lah.
Oh my god. Yeah, so I feel like I can kind of understand myself because you hear a lot of this kind of like stories about, or like you hear from the adults telling you things like this. So I remember when I was growing up and I liked someone, and I think in the head is like, why I'm so nice to this person don't reciprocate. Yeah, why that person don't like me back, you know, or like she just need to give me a chance. If she give me a chance, she will know that this will work out. So there are thoughts like this in the head when you really like someone and the person doesn't like you back. So in your head, you will kind of like just kind of like I guess spiral in that sense. Like yeah lor, like I just need that one chance. That person just give me one chance and I will be able to prove myself. Yeah. And I guess like as adults when you say this kind of to kids, I can understand that it doesn't come from a perspective of like trying to downplay like, or how do I say, like they're trying to give you confidence, like don't worry about this, you know, as long as you're a nice person, you're successful. Like females do want stability in a relationship. Yeah, but it's just a very small part of it. But as a kid, when you process it, you won't process it in that way. You'll process it out like, oh, I just need to earn a lot of money. Yeah, or like to get a female's attention. Yeah.
There's this which I think is a alpha male stat that has been floating around the internet. Because in adolescence, they use this line, which is the boy was saying, like, yeah, it's true that 80% of females go for 20% of males. Is that a term from? Like, is that a phrase
I
that
feel like I've heard
right?
of
I
this
feel like I've
before.
also heard it in like the
Yeah.
that whatever alpha
Yeah,
male kind of
yeah.
shit that they've been touting on the internet. Yeah.
So
So I guess you can think of that as like what underpins the incel mindset.
yeah. So I guess at least for me, I'm glad that I didn't end up spiraling to the extent of like feeling like the females, like I think I can
Females.
yeah I can imagine a world where like guys after going through rejections after rejection, they will feel like, hey, you know, it can't be that every time I like someone I get turned down, you know. So the problem must not be with me. It must be with the society or with girls in general. Like oh, girls are superficial. Yeah, because they don't like, because I'm not good looking, so they don't like me. So they are superficial. Yeah, I'm nothing wrong as a person. Like rather than accepting the fact that there's things that they can do and change, they don't want to accept that they kind of project it outwards. That all the problems they have is caused by other people and not myself. Yeah. So I can see how that community can end up, once you have this Reddit or like, last time it's like 4chan or whatever. Yeah. Once they go around that rabbit hole, I can see how a community can form in supporting each other in this echo chamber where they agree with each other. Yeah. So I mean it's kind of sad, but I guess it's a result of a patriarchal society in some ways. Because you're expected to be like to be so-called
breadwinner.
alpha, you need to step up, you need to not show weakness. Yeah. And then the constant story about last time always like no nice guys finish last. Those terms about like girls only like bad boys. Yeah.
It's not, there's this podcast, I think in the US, I think there's these two guys. I think they're called Fresh and Fit or something. Have you heard of them before?
No.
Oh my god, they're like damn fucking toxic.
Oh.
It's like so the thing is that I watched this one video that just do a deep dive on them. So they were talking about how they like start off as like dating coaches. They try to present themselves as dating coaches. Like they really know women.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
And then they started going on a podcast. They created a podcast that just kind of basically bashes women, and those content do very well. So the rest of the content then turn into like super toxic masculinity, just talking about why women suck. And then they bring women onto the show just to like kind of bash them. And make fun of them. It's not the one with the white guy. These are two, I think they're black guys.
Oh, they're black guys.
They're Fresh and Fit. I think they're called Fresh and Fit. And then anyway, this commentary video was just saying like the thing is that they talk about how they know how to get women and all these things because they need to present the image of themselves as successful businessmen.
Yeah.
And then they got like fast cars and then a lot of women, a lot of dates. But the thing is that they're not even good looking. They're not even really getting girls. And like one of them brought like a girl onto the show, like his date, and then she was like actually half drunk. She wasn't like, he isn't getting like a sober girl to come on like the show to, so it's just like, wow, actually they're damn sad. They're damn sad at the end of the day.
I mean, the fact that they did like a show and it like when they talk about these toxic things, it does well. It does well. So it did well. So people, I can see why they went down that rabbit hole Yeah, to continue create content relating to that to continue to get the numbers.
Yeah.
So.
But the thing is that like, so it's like all these people who are putting out all this hateful content they're probably not successful in real life, you know what I mean? But it's the image that they project that appeals to a certain group of people.
You can also talk about Andrew Tate, right?
Yeah.
Andrew Tate, like in the past, I guess 2 to 3 years. Was it so recent? Or was it even slightly longer ago?
He was arrested a while back, right?
I think
before COVID or during COVID?
I think during COVID period.
Yeah.
There was a period of time I also realized like there was so many Andrew Tate content on Instagram.
Before COVID. I think it was before COVID.
Before COVID. So it was like so many. So you like start watching it. Then after a while it's like, okay, they talk about, I think sometimes some of it is like general advice to guys, which are not toxic. But there are some also, they're like, oh, if you don't do this, you're weak. You need to, suck it up. You need to
be a man.
You need to step up. Yeah. So I was like, okay, some of this messaging, and then the way sometimes they talk about women is also very like they're not humans.
Yeah.
They're like objects to own. They're trophies to be worn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you know why there were so many content?
Why?
So he runs a course. He runs like there's this university or something.
Alpha male.
Is it?
Kind of thing.
Wait.
I feel like it is.
Let me check.
But the funny thing, I don't know why this all coming out of the US, but maybe it's the American content that we consume. But around the same time, there's this woman also who also produces a lot of misogynistic content. And then the things that she says is like, yeah, you're not like a the term they like to use is high value female.
Oh.
Right? So, but I think her content is more like, oh, if you're doing this, you're not like a good woman. Like, in order to be attractive to men, you need to do X, Y, and Z. But then the thing is, right, like the the thing is that she's not attractive to men either. Like, there are men who will go and stitch her videos and say, like, she's not attractive, like, she's ugly. But then she's putting out content that says, if to be attractive, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And then she's just, like, very hateful towards, like, other women and putting them down and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how they do this mental gymnastics.
But okay lah. I mean, sometimes when we poke back at them, like, oh, you're also not good looking, I feel like it's like stooping down to their level kind of thing.
But the thing is that she's not that attractive to the men that she's trying to pander to.
Yeah.
You know, she's trying to be like not like other girls.
Yeah. Anyway, he's at university, quote unquote. It's called the Hustlers University. So I remember watching a video that explained the reason why you have so many of those contents, because I think part of the course as you go along, or like maybe to get discount, or like to move up to a certain position or something along those lines. There are some benefits linked to it lah, basically. You need to post his content.
Oh my gosh, sounds like an MLM.
So that kind of like activated the entire group of people to be posting his content consistently. So that's why there was so many of his content a period of time. Yeah, which we also can constantly get fed on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep seeing also, I remember.
Yeah. So I just thought it interesting, but the thing is that like for us, I think most of us like, okay, now we already old enough, we form an opinion already. Things like this may not it may resonate with some people, but most of us were just like, okay lah, whatever lah, this is just a...
Yeah, but I think what the show Adolescent was showing is that is how dangerous it is for young men.
Yeah.
Because they are, like, the kid, the show, the main character is a teenager. And the thing is, anyway, everyone should go and watch it lah. It's very sad. Remember I came in the room, I was like...
bowling, then I was just like playing game halfway.
Last
Like,
episode, man, is like, I'm not even a parent or going to be a parent, but you just feel it.
Yeah.
Because the way they did it was so good. But anyway, yeah, I mean, basically the danger is with young people, right?
Yeah.
And what they're being fed online, because their brains are unformed. They don't have their own opinions.
Yeah.
That's the danger lah.
So, maybe we can talk about the stories. Do you want to
Reddit
pick
stories.
up? Yeah, you can pick up a story
So I
first.
tried to specifically look within Reddit Singapore, because I remember last time I will find a few. They'll be like, hey, why all these people always just blaming Singaporean women?
Oh, so you're finding Singapore
So I was
specific.
trying to find Singapore specific
Okay.
ones, but sadly, Singapore Reddit in the past few weeks has just been elections.
Yeah.
So I don't have much. I found two. One was just basically saying, the headline is, I haven't read it finished lah, so we can read it together. How prevalent is misogyny thinking in Singapore? Have been a lurker for a while on Reddit Singapore and Hardware Zone, and I've been seeing more and more misogynistic posts and comments, and it feels like there's a huge gender divide brewing. I don't mean comments like NS or Women's Charter, which has valid criticisms. But even then, I find that many of these people have their anger directed towards women rather than the government. I'm referring to comments like how easy life is for women in Singapore, how beaten down men are. This is what I mean, right? Sometimes we will see this.
Yeah.
How education, feminism has ruined women, how the value of a woman in her age or looks. Any post about single women in the 30s in the comments are predictably along the lines of expired leftover, miserable cat lady. Also, the usual local women versus overseas women. Singaporean women are entitled, materialistic, princessy, and ugly. Blah, blah, blah. So, this is basically a summary of the Singaporean comments. I know people will tell me not to take this seriously. It's likely some incel typing this. But many of these posts are written in somewhat proper English and sound local, which means they must have gone through the same education as me and have had interactions with female classmates and friends and colleagues in their lives. And I'm not sure they count as incels, because some of them claim to be married and are highly educated in high-paying jobs. It's not like we live in a highly gender-segregated society in Singapore that they grew up without any female influence. And of course, there are bad apples in every gender, but how can it be that every girl they interact with is so horrible? The comments about education are the truly scary ones. But yet, in real life, with my Singaporean friends and colleagues, I have not encountered such mentality among the guys I know. Most guys around me are really decent people, but yet seem to be, like, this thinking seems to be prevalent online. Lately, I still can't help wondering if the guys around me may have the same thinking, but they keep it suppressed. How prevalent is such thinking? And for men, is it really so disadvantageous to be a guy in Singapore? I've always thought both genders have their own challenges and we work around those. Yeah, so this person this is what I
Yeah.
meant. Like I think there was a period maybe a few months ago or last year when you keep seeing this kind of incel posts, specifically in us Reddit, like us Singapore Reddit, like saying like, yeah, Singaporean women are selfish. Look at these kind of things they're saying. They just go around the office doing this kind of shitty behavior, like they are shitty people, like, and then they have it easy, that kind of thing. So I remember seeing this for a period of time. Yeah. So anyway, that is the yeah, how prevalent is this misogynistic kind of thinking in Singapore? On Reddit, it seems quite prevalent.
Yeah. First thing I would just say that this kudos to this lady. I feel like she's a very optimistic person.
Huh, really?
I feel like she tried to see the good in people, but then she's starting to like wait a minute, like she feel like people around her is okay, but then like she finds a desync, right? Like in person, people generally feels okay, but online there's this huge negative
Anger,
voice,
yeah.
misogyny that's growing. I mean, first I would think that like the voice online is always disproportionate, right? Like when you hear a lot of loud, angry voices, they sometimes are not represent the majority of how people will feel. I would say that in terms of misogyny, I would say even now there are subtle ones that happens in friend groups. I would say that even maybe I may end up exhibit some which I may not be aware of until someone call you out
Like
for
what?
it. I don't know lah. I'm just saying I don't know. Cause I don't want to say that I'm all like angel and all because like cause like sometimes there might be very offhand comments that guys when you're in the so-called locker room, like just guys talking, you may end up saying things like this. But I would say that it's not a lot. At least the people that I hang out with, we don't generally have that kind of conversation. I don't know. Like, is it? I say it's more prevalent in the older generation.
But I feel like sometimes when I see those posts and I read it, right, I feel this sense of underlying anger, like somebody fucked them over, and then they're just so upset and so angry that when they're venting,
Yeah.
they're just blaming all Singaporean
Yeah,
women.
the resentment.
Yeah.
I would say that a big part of it is hard to for guys not to look at it from the guy versus girl perspective because of NS.
Huh, really? Yeah.
NS, as much as
It's so foundational.
it is very foundational because you are wasting, or in guys' perspective, you're wasting 2 years of your. You have no choice to serve that 2 years, and it's yeah, like no matter, it doesn't account for your interest or whatsoever. You just like 2 years is taken away from you. Yeah, so and then when they come out, they may feel like their female peers has gone ahead.
Hate.
Yeah. 2 years ahead, and there's that resentment lah to some guys lah, like you know, why am I doing this? It doesn't add value to my life. They don't they don't try to find like value from this experience. They just like, yeah, this 2 years is fucked up my life. Yeah, so I can already see, I mean that experience already draw a very clear line lah. Yeah, it segregates the male and female quite clearly because of that. Yeah.
That's a good point.
So is it common? But then you see, when we talk about all this, we also cannot talk about the NS in isolation because the like guys, for example, earns a bit more.
Yeah.
So there is that pay disparity still, in general, because guys do, at least for, I'm not so sure as you move on, but your starting pay tend to be, a lot of company would pay guys a bit more to so-called cover up for the 2 years they lost. I don't know whether there's a proper study that actually draws some proper comparison, like over a period of time, how much do a guy earn versus how much a girl earn. By a certain point, where do they cancel out each other? You know, that one, I hope maybe someone can make some statistics. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, so comments, one of the top ones is like, The rise of men leaning more conservatively while women lean more liberally is something that is on a rise throughout different countries. Edited to say that there's also a lot of pervasive toxic content out there for women about female energy and that how one shouldn't work and instead stay home as a trophy wife or be a barefoot and pregnant mother. Losing agency is the quickest way to becoming controlled and abused.
The day you suddenly walk into my room, I don't want to work anymore. I just want to go back to the 50s or something. What do you say? I can't remember.
I'll be a housewife.
You also don't have kids. Your housewife, your wife see me.
Yeah, I take care of our dog. A future dog.
Our non-existent dog.
I need to prepare the house in
Then I'll be like,
preparation for that.
Just because it's convenient. You cannot pick and choose feminism. Yeah.
No, feminism is about choice. If like as a feminist, I choose to be a stay-at-home housewife. If our circumstances,
Feminism is about choice.
Yeah.
Then as a guy, I also want to just stay at home.
yeah, you can if you want to.
Then we both stay at home. Then you're
Then
like, okay, lor,
Who's
okay.
gonna
lor.
be? Who's gonna work? Who's
The
gonna earn
dog.
us money? The dog. A pet influencer
Yeah.
child.
Train the dog and post yourself.
Yeah, influencer for kid. Yeah, but anyway, this comment is saying that yeah, seems like as women lean more liberally, men lean more conservatively. And then this person saying, Reddit posts as a base classification or not to generalize are inaccurate to begin with. This may shock you, but the greater the education is, the better the language when expressing incel thoughts.
I mean,
Because
education.
it can sound more logical, right?
I mean,
guess.
education doesn't necessarily take away misogyny, lah, right? I guess it does help where if there's a better, people are better at critical thinking and like, thinking through about certain things. But once you are caught in that echo chamber, sometimes it's hard to see a reality different from what you're
Yeah,
experiencing.
echo chamber.
Yeah.
Then this person has a very thoughtful long post, I think, sounds. I find the anger directed towards women regarding NS and women's charter the most difficult to comprehend. I'm not defending these policies, but why the anger towards women when it is men who came up with the policies? How many women do we have in leadership and policy making positions, especially back in the day? Fair enough. The argument that many of them use is that the majority of women would not voluntarily serve NS. But the fact is that we all agree that NS isn't an advantageous thing to go through. So the question should not be whether women are willing to voluntarily go through NS, but how can we make NS better? At the end of the day, the answer isn't coming from scolding the average woman in Singapore. Like, dude, I can't even get my MP to build a shelter from my house to the bus stop. I'm equally powerless as you are. And is it not a strange question to ask? If today there's a pill that will allow a man to go through periods every month, grow breasts, get pregnant and breastfeed, how many men would voluntarily go through it? And we don't get angry at men, at least we shouldn't, not logically, when we go through painful periods, suffer through pregnancy, childbirth and breastfeeding. Because what would be the point? Instead, we should all be looking at how to make things better instead of directing our anger at a group of people who aren't at fault and do not have the ability to change things. Yeah, so I think this is written by a woman. If it matters, no, I'm not a fan of the current conscription system. I was worried when my brothers had to serve, and I'll be gravely worried when it's my son's turn. So no, women are not sitting around gloating at the advantage we have. There are men in our lives that we care and love for. As an average woman living among men, I honestly find it scary when I read some of these comments and see how much men in Singapore despise women. Any of them could very well be my friend or colleague. I can only comfort myself that this is a small group of men who are just making a lot of noise on the one and only platform they have the guts to make noise on, and to open my eyes bigger when choosing my future spouse. Yeah. And that's a very good point, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so sometimes like, sometimes we make jokes about this, but I think the jokes that we make, like for example, like go to the kitchen, but I don't really make that joke that often, right? But like those jokes, like sometimes I also catch myself like, is it okay to make jokes like this? But it's only okay if the person that you're making a joke with knows that you don't mean it. Yeah. I mean, that's with all jokes lah, right? Like, it's all joke until the other party don't feel like it is. You know what I mean? Like once the other person feels offended, then there's no longer like a so-called a joke lah. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a good point though. Like, is to blame all these things on women, but then actually who came out with the policies is men.
You see, but I'm not a fan of conversations or like finger pointing like this, because I feel like it's not productive. Yeah, when we say like, yeah, but you know, who made the policies? Men. But you must also understand that it's a small group of elite men who does it.
Yeah.
The majority of men, we are just living through the experience.
But the thing is that the people who are blaming women are also not logical, right?
Yeah lah.
So you're also like giving them too much credit.
Yeah.
If you don't think along the same lines as them.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of times when I look at conversations like this, like, or like people who are saying all these thoughts well, it's very easy to immediately kind of like, what do you call it, brush them off and assume that they don't know better, they're stupid. I feel like a lot of times scenarios like this is like they are in actually a bad state or situation. Yeah, like their life is like pretty fucked generally lah. I don't know whether it's all of them, but usually they've gone through a certain experience of life that make them feel this way or see the world this way. Yeah, and I feel like it's very easy to discount it and just brush it off, but like that's their reality also lah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's also kind of sad, like, what question? Some of the thing is that what went wrong in their life, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they never had a father figure, or maybe they were abused, or you know.
How did you even get
that? It can happen, right? That's why they have that kind
That's
of.
why they hate women.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
whether
or they
it's
were
on a-
bullied in a way, you know, by people around them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if like maybe a female, instead of just rejecting him, they kind of like tore him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe he all along he don't look good. He always feel insecure. People always make fun of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in order to protect himself from like, okay, it's not that I'm not good looking. It's, you know, the problem is people around me. Yeah. So rather than confronting that certain issue or something that they have, yeah, they externalize everything else.
I guess on a related note, or I don't know, related note or what, is those like comments about marriage. Like, you know, sometimes people like, I don't know, like, it's like, oh, you gotta train your husband, that kind of thing. Like, like, you know, you can train your husband to do this one, or that kind of thing. You know, those kind of comments.
Yeah.
I think, okay,
Like
so
there's
that's
those comments about like, oh, your money is your money, but his money is my money. Our money.
Or like, oh, my wife is gonna spend all my money. Or like, she only know how to spend my money. Those kind of comments. I find them also fucking irritating, because it's not doing either gender any service. You know what I mean? When you put things across
when you
like
have conversation, when you say it in broadly in terms like this.
Yeah, it's so demeaning to both parties.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Because I mean, nothing wrong with, for example, a family decided that the wife stay at home and the husband is the one working, and then the wife take care of the kids and so on. I feel like there's totally nothing wrong, and it's also like it's a collaboration, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's only when like it turns into comments about like, yeah, she only know how to spend my money only. Then I'm just like, them.
It's like, why you're
It's
still
like-
together?
Why you would say shit like this about your own partner, you know?
Yeah.
Or like, it's like you gotta train your husband to do this thing. Then why would you need to do that? Like, you know?
Yeah.
Or like if they say, you need to just manipulate him into doing things that you want. I'm just like, huh?
I
That
think
doesn't sound good.
I think in general, people don't know how to communicate well lah. Yeah, I think communication is a skill that if you never learn what is the right way to do it, you're just practicing the wrong way, and that's the only way you know how to do it. Yeah, so I can see how that kind of being born from like, oh, you know, whenever I bring it up, maybe the husband always react
Brush it off,
negatively
yeah.
or brush it off. So she maybe the woman realized, I can't communicate this way. I have to manipulate him into, I have to train him, or in a way that he can then react more positively. Maybe
Yeah.
that's how
Yeah,
they see it,
maybe.
rather than having a sit down conversation. And then also, I mean, it's both sides lah.
Yeah,
The guy also need to
be
have that
receptive.
capacity, to
Yeah.
be receptive with criticism or feedback, and also being willing to like not a me versus you thing, but it's like how we can work through a problem.
Yeah. And also those things about like he should read my mind, all those kind of things also low key
Oh.
triggers me sometimes. Eh.
There's also the whole like you need to buy your partner gifts and so on. That always people will be like surprised. Oh, Valentine's Day, you're not buying anything for your partner. Like there's an expectation for
Yeah.
me to do it. That will be just like nope.
Eh, my flower, my jelly cat flower, out of
Still out
stock.
of
Still, damn it.
Yeah. So
But yeah, like those kind of comments always trigger me also. Like just so
unproductive.
it's so misogynistic.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
But the funny thing also, I think we talked about this before, is like the misogyny part. A lot of times also females are the one perpetuating it. Right?
Like what?
Female on female, like females are
Female
telling
on female.
like other females telling females about, this is your role as a female.
Oh.
Yeah, like, the guys are like that one. You need to just accept it and
No,
do
I
it
mean,
this
yeah,
way.
I mean, sometimes I do that too.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, it's true to a certain extent that gender do have. There are certain stereotypes that are true.
Yeah.
So.
I was remembering something. There's a story about okay, so I know a person. I'm not gonna say how I know this person. Okay, I'll tell you later. But this person was sharing with me like her family, right? Her mom married into the family. But and then they stay in the same place. So in the same place is the father, the mother, and the grandmother. And then I think in that relationship, the grandmother hated the wife.
Yikes.
Yeah. And then they have a lot of tension and it becomes abusive lah. The whole relationship became abusive to a extent where the wife ran away. Yeah, and left the child there. Yeah. And only many years later they kind of like then properly divorced.
I
Yeah.
think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Then that person also shared like after life was a lot better after the grandmother passed away.
Oh no!
Yeah, like things were better because
she's not
it's
there
not
as
that
the
toxic
evil
anymore.
voice. Yeah.
And sometimes I also like see it is like especially when like a couple got together and they're like in-laws. Sometimes the female, the mother, like you would sometimes hope like, oh no, as fellow females, you all will have each other's back. But then like sometimes the mother-in-law or the older female, she will have her own experience and she feel like, as a female, you need to
Do this.
Yeah, you need to serve the husband. You need to serve my son.
Yeah.
So, kind of
Yikes.
sad. Like the
It
time
is
I think
sad.
I don't know whether you read this story before about this family where the wife was, I think the wife, they're gonna get married. Then the mother-in-law was telling her like, oh, she will need to go through this test.
I think we read it
To
before,
take care, to see whether you can cook and take care of my son.
Yeah.
And because for them it's like they gone through it, they done it, so it's like you should also do it too. Without they think of it as like it's a tradition, but I feel like it's kind of sad lah. Like you will hope that at least the female have each other's
But I don't
back.
think they knew any better. As
don't
in,
think
like,
so lah.
these old people or this older generation, they grew up with that mindset.
Yeah.
And they were forced to go through
And
it.
they were all stay-home moms.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they
while
aren't
the-
the best
yeah.
educated either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of sad.
This is sad.
Let
you
me
have a story?
see. I have a story.
Not Singapore.
This one, okay, you see whether who's the problematic person here. Okay, so am I the asshole for telling my friend his physical standards are why he is single? So I, 22 male, have a friend, also 22 male, who has never had a girlfriend or romantic experience. Now, let me say that I actually really like him as a person, and I think he has positive qualities. He has a solid job making 180,000 with a company car as a surgical device sales rep at 22 after graduating first class. What's it called? Magna cum laude. Right. He's generally affable and easy to talk to. If his standards were just educated and good person, I would totally support it, as I think that's reasonable. However, physically, and I know I'm being brutal here, he's not a catch. He already has a significantly receded hairline. His face is quite frankly below average. He's of below average height and he's not in amazing shape. I believe he has a distorted view because his parents constantly told him he was very handsome and could get any girl. As a result, he is exclusively interested in women who are not just successful, but also exceptionally gorgeous. A woman who said she graduated from Ivy League and was a tech sales rep was flirting with him at the bar. Though she was nice and clearly quite intelligent, and again, I know I'm being brutal here, she was not very attractive. When he asked for his number, he politely declined. I asked him what was wrong, and he said, I mean, she seems like a nice person, but she's definitely not in my league. I bit my tongue. The next week, he came to me upset and told me that a woman that he had a cooking class with rejected him. Suspecting the reason why, I asked him to show me a picture of her from her social media. Sure enough, she was insanely attractive and in marketing at a big company. I just tried to sympathize. Later, I thought long and hard about it. On the one hand, I didn't want to be mean, but on the other, this had been occurring since freshman year of high school. He's now the last person in the friend group to be single and completely missed out on dating in high school and college. Say what you will, but I think romance is important for the vast majority of people, and I also think physical attraction is a foundational aspect of relationships unless you are both ace. He could easily be in a relationship if he got over his obsession with beauty. So after rehearsing what I wanted to say, I decided to sit him down and told him, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think you should lower your physical standards. You will have way more options. He protested and said his standards were reasonable because he's a good-looking guy. I said, I hate to say it, but your approach of only going after beautiful and successful women has not worked out. Feel free to shoot your shot, but I think you should also consider women that are nice and smart but less physically attractive. I recommended he go to therapy about this. He got angry and has been giving me the cold shoulder ever since. Am I the asshole?
Holy shit.
Yeah. What? It's a rough relationship.
Wow.
So basically, you have a friend who is not very good looking, who has been trying to hit on good looking people,
Yeah. And you want to give him a reality check.
and like you want an intervention to
Yeah.
like, hey, like I want you to be happy, but you know you're not good looking. Stop going for good looking girls.
Yeah. I don't know. How good friends are they? Are they like best friends?
I think they know each other since high school, freshman of high school,
So they're like quite good friends.
and they are 22 now, so
So it's like
should be quite a number of years lah.
Nearly 10 years of friendship.
High school got so
14, I think. Around
that's
14.
middle school, no.
No.
High school is like secondary school,
It's
I
14
guess.
onwards.
Okay,
Yeah. It's quite
less
okay.
than 10 lah, but
Okay lah,
but
so like quite good
quite number.
friends
I
lah.
mean, almost half their life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess it means that they are close enough for the friend to give
I mean, this guy
to
seems
be
like
brutally
he
honest.
didn't wanted to say at first because he knows it's gonna hurt his
him.
ego.
Yeah. You see the asshole. I don't know. I mean,
I
And
think there are a few things
no,
that
yes.
point out. I feel like lah, there are a few things to take note. One is okay, so I feel like as a guy, I would never say this to a guy.
oh. I mean, as a friend, I would never say that to a friend and say, "Hey, you're ugly," you know.
Yeah, you're not that good looking.
How can you?
I feel like this kind of thing you kind of need to realize it yourself.
Yeah.
It's I mean, intention, whatever intention is it, there are some things you just don't say it to someone else.
And I also there are ways to put things across. Like for example,
Yeah.
if you say, "Oh, okay, why don't you like?" When you have a discussion about the people that he wants to ask out, and then maybe you can inject a comment like, "Oh, maybe you want to consider people like this or people like that,"
Yeah.
and then it's like, "Oh, maybe just don't close yourself off to chances, because you never know, right? Maybe you can say it that way rather than saying, bro, you are ugly. Can you date uglier women? You know, like you don't have to say in
Yeah.
those terms.
But to be fair, also the guy is also sounds like he's quite delusional lah.
Yeah.
Okay, so to be fair, we also don't know how good looking
Ugly
this
he is.
guy the friend is,
Or
because
the OP.
because no, not the OP, but the friend lah.
Ah.
Because like maybe actually the guy is quite okay looking, but
OP thinks
for
he's
this guy,
ugly.
he feels like yeah, it's not that good looking. Maybe in terms of chasing the
Yeah.
really pretty
But
and
actually,
attractive
OP
people.
also got their. Seems like they have their own. He has his own. What's that word? Like
Prejudice.
prejudice, because they are beautiful women, beautiful, successful, intelligent women who
With not so good looking
exactly
guys. Yeah.
right, because it could
Which
happen.
I feel sometimes, and I look at it, I think it's not a good thing to overly focus on this kind of small case scenarios.
No, but the thing
Because
is that
there are a lot of guys who will be like, yeah, I think I also can get. I've seen guys, yeah, they're inspiration. I also can, but it's like,
no, but the thing is that it can also happen.
Mm.
So for OP to just brush his friend off and be like he's too ugly for these women, it's also like, are you? That's
yeah,
not very nice.
yeah. Actually, this reminds me of a story.
From your own life,
Yeah, so
someone told you you're ugly.
can you let me get the story? Can you don't jump into conclusion? So the story goes with, I think there was a girl that was really chasing, and I think finally got like properly rejected. So I was like very sad, very depressed. So I hung out with a friend. It was okay. I think I can't remember. She's a primary school friend. That time we still got talk lah. So we chatted, and she's quite a direct person. So she kind of like asked me whether, like going with your track record of you trying to always like, because I told you before, like for most of my life, like the girls that I like, they don't like me back. So I guess maybe in some ways, okay, let's not talk about the receding hairline or whatever. This is not about me. Okay, if only I'm 22 now. But the point is that yeah, I always chase girls that end up didn't get to anywhere. Yeah. And I think that incident kind of like opened my eyes up a bit lah. She kind of questioned me. So she asked me gently lah. Did she ask me gently? I can't remember. But she asked me, do you think that you are more interested in the chase rather than the girl itself? Yeah, like rather than
The person.
yeah. Which also made me thought about it like maybe what you're looking for is that satisfaction in getting that person. Yeah, rather than actually really caring about that specific person. Because to be honest, like when you chase a person, you all don't hang out that often. How much do you know this person to be so infatuated with him, with her? Yeah. So I think that kind of like, I guess wake me up or like make me realize like, I would say like in some cases like when I first, if let's say I'm trying to chase someone and I feel like this person not as interested in me, I feel like the desire to make it work grows. As much as I didn't want to admit it at that time. Yeah. So I maybe for the case, you see, there was the fact that a lady over went up to him and actually asked for his number.
Yeah.
Means that actually he's not that bad lah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But also this guy also a idiot lah. He say she's not in my league.
But don't guys generally have an ego anyway? Like
Okay, I have to be fair also in our society in Singapore. Most guys don't generally go up to girls and
Yeah.
ask them out.
yeah.
It's only a very small group of guys that does that. Like you go to a bar, Singapore bars are not optimal for picking girls up. And when you go out in the bar, you usually go out with friends. You're not there to mingle, right? Unlike like places like in US and so on, it's a very different vibe. Yeah. So
I mean, this guy can't be too bad looking because he's a sales rep, right?
No, that's the... Yeah, he's a sales rep. Yeah.
I mean, you have to be okay looking in order to be so good at sales also.
I mean,
to be
I guess
honest.
maybe just presentable lah.
Yeah, you have to be presentable. So he can't be like fugly, That's my deduction.
But I don't know, leh. I mean, how would you have done it to a friend? If let's say you have to, you feel like you really want to intervene, how would you have done it? What would have been the right way?
I don't know. Maybe it's like what I said just now, like sit down with the person and be like, okay, let's take a look at the people that you haven't had much successes with. Maybe now you try it and fail so many times already, right? So maybe you want to try something new. Maybe you want to consider this. Maybe you want to consider that. Like just like frame it from a position of like, don't close yourself off to just attractive women. Like why not try something new, because you haven't been successful before, right? So no harm trying lah, right? At this stage in life, you're only 22.
Yeah, I think the issue here is maybe also that the way that the guy approached is to tear him down.
Oh yeah.
Like, hey, you're not that good looking. Why you go and find so good looking people? I think instead of going after his friend through his friend's looks, maybe it could have gone in a way like you say like, hey, maybe don't, like, when you have, when you must also, I think sometimes there's one reminder is like, if you're a good looking person, like a good looking female, you must know that person has options. Yeah, and you're competing with those options. Yeah, and I mean, sure, you're an amazing guy, but like, sometimes it's just difficult lah. Yeah, and also I guess it's also questions like, so whether you really want to have, what kind of relationships you want to have with a person, like, so
maybe it can be like you can speak from your own experience, or bring a group of people, like friends together, to talk about like, when I first chased this person, I thought that I want X, Y, and Z, but then actually it turns out I didn't need X, Y, and Z. Like, I can still have a good relationship because this.
And to be fair,
just to open him up.
They're still young lah.
Yeah.
22. I can see why the focus on looks lah. When you're at that age, I think that's what matters more.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that maybe over time, as he mellowed down and he realized like, oh, I'm just keep chasing girls with good looking, but no, like at the end, their personality matters more.
Yeah.
How you vibe with the person matters more. Yeah. And I think those will be, it will grow on him lah. As long as he's not a incel, he's a good person, then I feel like it will work out lah.
Yeah. So what the comments say? Is he the asshole?
So first one is not the asshole.
Oh.
It sounds like you approach this mindfully with good intentions. Unfortunately, a guy like this doesn't sound open to reflection about himself. These opinions tend to solidify with time, resulting in the woman are a problem mindset. He will either learn in time or he won't. But someone replied to that, while clearly not the asshole, I also think that the conversation was unnecessary and obviously not going to pan out well. For it not to even occur to this dude that the reason he routinely turns down women because he's not interested to them could possibly be the reason he's being ejected because they're not interested in him is ridiculous. So it's like he himself is like on the receiving end of like women approaching him. It's like, you're not in my league. And then he himself doesn't understand why the woman rejects him constantly.
Yeah, because he's not in their league.
But ultimately it only affects him, and the OP did was basically sitting down and telling him he's not that good looking. Which, like, dude, how do you think that was going to go? Right?
Yeah.
If it's like another dude tell me you're not going to go, it's like, what the fuck? Like, then you very good looking, man, Like, because it feels like a personal attack at this point. Yeah. If he kept coming to me complaining about why did she reject me, I'll be like, I don't know. Why do you reject people who ask you out? And if he says some garbage about her being an asshole, just be like, whatever, dude. She's allowed to not like you, and that doesn't make her a jerk. Just like how you're allowed to not date people you don't want to, and it doesn't make you a jerk. Yeah, from a woman's perspective, please let him be. We don't want someone going out with us because they feel like the people they're really attracted to will want to date us. We don't want to be settled for. Let him continue to spin his wheel and make his choices. Don't encourage him to subject women to the inevitable unpleasantness and degradation of going out with a man who'd rather be with someone else just so he can have experiences with someone because it's about time. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, like, I mean, I can understand where the woman is coming from. I feel like, yeah, when you're young, you may have
You're
certain
stupid.
ideals
Yeah.
of what a relationship should be. Perhaps in his group, I mean, he's a sales, so maybe the salespeople,
Are
they
all
all have hot
attractive.
girlfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe to him, like, I need to, I mean, if those people can, I should also can get. So I think like your the people around you also affects.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
But
you are expected to have a hot girlfriend because you're a sales rep. You know,
yeah. It sounds like he comes from a loving family. Which hopefully that means he's not like
the mom keep telling, "Hey, you
Yeah.
very handsome lah, my
Yeah.
handsome boy."
yeah, my handsome boy. But I mean hopefully this means that this guy is not like toxic, like, you know what I mean? If you have a healthy childhood growing up,
Yeah,
he just needs to learn lah.
at least my mom would tell me, "You very handsome man, if you lose weight." At least my mom gives anchor it in
Your mother say
reality.
you're handsome, eh?
Yeah, if I lose weight lah.
If you lose weight.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like you and your actually I can snowball one. I just lose weight.
yeah, yeah. People are generally saying that he's not the asshole lah. But I feel like when he write this, he already has a lot of judgment on his friend for his behavior, which I can understand. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think the problem is with his looks.
The problem is his approach lah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
that he's
mindset.
obsessed with attractive females.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So, is he an incel? Not really, but
No, just
but you can
delulu.
also see how it may devolve over time lah. If he doesn't really sit down and properly reflect on things.
He's just
Yeah, and I feel like if he's really gonna chase a hot girl, eventually the relationship won't work out because that's all he's looking for. Yeah, like to him that's like the more important things. Rather than trying to, get to know a person. Like someone here on you was like, oh, actually, okay lah. I mean, there's also this thing we talk about how like looks. Everyone has a threshold, right? Once you are above the threshold, like okay, you may not be the super gorgeous, but yeah, we can work. We can work with this. Yeah, I think that's fine as well. You have another story?
It's not really a Reddit story. It's just a post. This person asked, 138 days ago, are many guys in Singapore depressed?
The fuck?
For some reason, this user was deleted. But anyway, I understand that there is 2 years of NS and all, reservist, I think, plus there is the societal pressure that expects guys to be the provider, which probably adds to the stress and burden. Just some context here, I've liked this guy for quite some time and we got along very well too. He has some bad friends that he doesn't get along very well, which I thought wasn't a big deal since he does not keep close ties with them. TLDR, incels, and very objectifying towards women, had a whole Telegram group chat of leaks. Okay, so this guy had an incel friend group. But we went to drink a little a few days ago. He got drunk and exploded, claiming that everyone around him is fake. I wanted to help him, but he pushed me away and claimed that if he wasn't good looking and rich, I wouldn't have taken a look at him. He also screamed that he hates NS, he hates his friends and finds them disgusting while apologizing to someone, which I have never heard before, and while thinking his parents treated him like a tool. This obviously offended me as his first sentence made me sound really superficial, but more importantly, really changed the way of how I look at him, as this side of him seems real scary.
Wait, yeah, together is it?
Dating, maybe.
Dating, okay.
In my opinion, it seems like he may be suffering from some mental problems, but just wondering if there are many guys like this. And some things that he listed, such as NS, seems to be a common topic many guys complain about. Oh my
Yeah,
god, it always comes
yeah.
down to NS again.
Unfortunately, 2 years is a long time,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
In your best years, when you're 18 to
18.
20,
When you're most excited
19
about
to
going
21, yeah, that's where you're the horniest as well.
Oh.
Right? You also start to be more horny. I don't know.
Yeah. So he's like, are they? So the question was like, are there many guys in Singapore depressed? Yeah.
Are there many guys who are depressed?
I
The
think there are many guys-
difficult thing is that we don't know. Because guys don't talk
their
about it
emotions.
that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ask me, my guy friends all seem okay. So if one of them suddenly have depression and had to go do whatever,
Bothered,
I'll be surprised. But at the same time, I'll be like, yeah, I guess,
It could happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
hard to tell, right?
Then the top comment was like, maybe he just needs a listening ear. Men have very few avenues of emotional support. And that certainly does not help, and in most cases it aggravates existing stressors. Imagine being thrown onto an island and having your life controlled from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. Your commander screaming at you for everything and the threat of punishment hanging over your head for minor infractions that don't even matter or affect anyone at all. Male friendship operates quite differently from female friendship. Male friendship focuses more on activities, and conversations never reach a deeper level where they talk about their feelings unless they are really close, and even then there's a barrier that's never crossed. Whereas female friendship provides lots more emotional support and reassurance through conversations and compliments. Your friend clearly has a lot of emotions and thoughts that he has repressed and have no outlet to deal with them in a healthy way. And his friends certainly doesn't seem to be the kind that are supportive. Why don't you lend a listening ear and have a long heart-to-heart talk with him about his fears and anger, his sadness, and the reasons behind all these emotions. I'm not asking you to be his therapist, but maybe he felt that there's someone out there who cares about him for who he is. He might be able to come to terms with his emotions. All the best. Then this follow-up comment from, a top 1% commentator, apparently. I suggest men start changing their friendships to be more supportive of each other emotionally. It won't do to depend on women to provide emotional support. Ideally, you should have more than one source of it in your life. Otherwise, if that one source of emotional support ends, you might end up worse than before.
But how? Like, it's very easy to say, yeah, guys should be more, should support each other more emotionally.
Yeah.
But how to get to that point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Societal change.
I would say that's why I appreciate having female friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I think you probably also need a certain maturity to accept that females can be friends. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the way I see it is also like sometimes like you can be attracted to a female friend, but you also need to be able to know that this is just friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just, having that conversations. And I think it's true lah when the commenter talk about how females are more assuring when you talk about problems. Yeah. Guys tend to be problem solving. Yeah. Or like, don't think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And try to dismiss it. Not saying dismiss it in a bad way, but that's how we manage our problems. And that's the kind of advice we give to each other. Yeah. Which is not very, like you can say, like the emotions can end up being more repressed. It's never about dealing with your emotions. Yeah.
And then the whole compliments thing is true. So
Yeah.
I think I was see online or something. They say like men don't get complimented.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of nice sometimes. Actually, the thing is like, I mean, I don't know whether it's also Singapore thing. Like we are not very good at taking compliments.
Oh, we're not.
Yeah. So sometimes you hear compliments like, oh, it's like,
you
no lah,
want-
you dismiss it like, no lah, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you when you watch like Americans or whatever, they're like, oh, thank
wow.
you.
Yeah.
They will take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in Singapore, like, no. But I mean, I now that I'm also thinking back, I can't think of specific examples, but like when friends, they're like, actually you're doing quite well lah. They give assurance when they say things like this, or like, yeah, like your position is not bad, like your current position or like state of things are quite good. Yeah. So it's like this kind of things, like I guess it's harder to hear that from another guy. Yeah. Yeah. So are guys in Singapore depressed? I don't think so.
Are they repressed?
Or repressed?
No, that's my spin on the question.
Probably. I guess that's why you see a lot of people, like, what do you call it? The outlet is Reddit lah, right? And they say all this kind of shit.
Yeah, this person is like, in general, yes, Singapore society is very materialistic and life is hard for guys who aren't rich and handsome. How, your life very hard now, Kenneth? You're not rich or handsome, eh? But anyway. So, oh my god, incel comment. I mean, only the first line. I see the first line, I say incel lah. Maybe let's read on. Maybe this person becomes more reasonable. Okay.
He will have character development over his course of comment. Okay, sure, come.
Men in Singapore are second-class citizens, have the least amount of rights but almost all the responsibility. Chris Rock said it best, and it applies so well to Singapore. Only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. Men are only loved under the condition they provide something. When you have a government and a society that treats men as disposable and nothing but servants to the country and society, what do you expect? Starts the moment you're born as a boy in Singapore. Immediately you're told what your responsibilities are to the country. Want to pursue studies or career? You're SOL until you fulfill your NS responsibilities. What's SOL?
Stoppage of leave.
Okay. Until you fulfill your NS responsibilities. Yeah. Anyone remember that dude Ben Davies who got a scholarship at Fulham Academy only to be told by MINDEF that he couldn't defer his NS and had to come back? Dude was faced with a nonsense choice of serve NS or be a defaulter and get arrested if you ever enter Singapore again. No woman in Singapore will ever have to make that choice, nor will they even know what their reality will ever feel like. Then we have how completely thankless being a man in Singapore is. Society and especially women in Singapore treat men like absolute garbage. The fact that OP is going, I know that there is 2 years of NS plus reservice, I think, just goes to show how clueless y'all are. It is this reservice and NS that lets everyone else enjoy the freedoms and privileges of Singapore, and yet most of you have no clue what any of this entails. Women's issues, no matter how real or fake, are amplified to the nth degree. You know that feminist mantra of my body, my choice? Apparently that only applies to women. Because men in Singapore sure as hell don't get that same luxury. Want to grow your hair long? Wait till you ROD, probably close to 50 and have no more hair left. Want to keep a nice long beard? For those of you who can grow it out anyway, well, you're going to shave it off before you go for reservice. Want to dye your hair? Same thing. Taken inspiration from Lizzo and want to be big and beautiful? Sure, go ahead. You just have to serve 20 sessions of RT per year on top of all your other responsibilities. For men, it's your body, government's choice. I'll just end it off with this. I remembered some years ago, some typical middle-aged Singaporean lady posted multiple pictures on Storm of some random NS man buying soaps at a body shop. Her complaint was that he's serving the country, he's a man, how can he be buying stuff at the body shop? That's not what NS men should be doing. Perfectly encapsulates everything I've said. The entitlement and sheer cluelessness of Singaporean women. And of course, this dude got his face plastered everywhere and got made fun of because that's not how a soldier or man should behave. That's the reality of most Singaporean men. Just your everyday casual misandry with a whole heaping of gynocentrism to really round out that second-class citizen narrative.
Okay,
you got 58 upvotes.
No, okay. Firstly, I think maybe you shouldn't have read it in a way to downplay him. I feel like yeah. The thing is, I don't think what he says is. I
mean, some points make sense, like you cannot grow your hair out.
Yeah, but I don't think you should have say in a way that dismisses him lah.
It dismisses his comment.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from, but that's why I always feel like conversations like this are so difficult because it's very easy for us to be very dismissive when people have thoughts like this. Yeah. When I hear the example, I mean, to a large extent, there are a lot of things that when he bring out the examples that he have and so on, they are very, I feel that they are nitpick to support his views. Yeah. Which I don't think is ideal because it doesn't, a lot of these things actually has a lot more complexity to it, a lot more factors to it.
Yeah.
Like the whole Ben Davies thing and so on. It's like, yeah, but you know, how many guys actually deal with that? You know, like going through that, like it's a very small percentage of people. Yeah. So it's not a common experience by all guys. You know, having to like your deferment is rejected. You know, despite playing for the country or whatever. It's like but that only affects a very very tiny people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to read it normally on.
Yeah.
But then, like, the more I went on, the more is like, all the things that he raises, right, are like policy issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the issues with the system. But then, like, he says it's women's problem. You know what I mean? It's like just now when we were reading that previous story when they were saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, actually, the problem is not women.
Yeah.
We're all normal citizens. The problem is the system. But then
Yeah.
this guy, he linked it to women when actually everything that he listed down are issues with the
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
You know?
But I can see why he has that perspective lah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is it wrong? Maybe. Yeah. I would say I don't agree with how he feels, how he projects things. But I wouldn't like reject his reality lah, or how he see it lah.
Yeah.
Of course, the fact of the matter is that I would say that there is quite a lot of people who view the world like that. You know, I have also a friend, you met him, that guy that we talk about how he gives off incel vibes. Yeah, like that behavior is not uncommon. Like and it's not really just tied down to just incel behavior. It's also the whole approach of like our life is the worst. You know, everyone is out here to get us. Yeah, we have nothing. We are just like hanging on the thread. You know, like government is out to get us. Women is out to get us. Yeah, and whatever experience he have negative, he constantly reinforces his reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you see news like this, it's very easy. Once he has that mindset, it's very easy to look at like news and so on to continuously reinforce how he feels. Yeah, and it's also go back to the whole like echo chamber, right? What if you don't have like constructive conversations about all these situations and have that willingness to learn about the other side? Yeah, I think it ends up like, yeah, it's tough lah. So sometimes I'm also wondering like, how can we help these people? I don't know whether time will help.
Help them to get out of that mindset.
Or at least take a break on that like
That's
that belief. Yeah. Because it's very hard for them to step out of it or like consider other points when they have it's like telling them, hey, your reality is wrong.
It's like actually, I mean, the framework and like this kind of thing is also like I think the conversations that happening in the US of people who are like really deep in like believing Trump and all those things, right?
Yeah.
It's like, or what was that term that they had, like they had a term for those people. You know, there was a period back. What is it? Not anonymous. What did they call it? A group of people who believe in the conspiracy theories. But anyway, it's
conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Like, there's a term.
Yeah, there's a term for it. At the moment I say, I'm sure you know also. US.
Flat earthers.
No. But QAnon.
Oh.
QAnon.
I didn't know that was the term to describe them.
Yeah. So it's like the conspiracy theories. Like, I was watching these videos, like, how do you break people out of QAnon or having that conspiracy? Because, like, that is their reality.
Yeah.
Like, in their head, like, this is true.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you break them out of it? And then, then a lot of people, like, lose, families to QAnon because you just can't break through to them. You can't speak reason to them because they just can't. And because they in their mind, there are always ways to explain away certain inconsistencies.
They are not logical when it comes to
dissonance.
certain stuff.
Yeah. So I guess that connects back once again to like incel thinking, right? It's like you already think this way. How do you get people out of those? Basically, right, it's like extremist thoughts, right? Because these thoughts are,
in some ways, yeah.
they're always very skewed to just one end when that's not what reality is.
But if you also link to, when you look at a lot of the, I mean, okay lah, we're not scientists here, we don't have the research to back up, but it also goes back to sometimes a lot of them, they don't have a social support system in their life. Yeah, to kind of like, as cliche as this sounds, sometimes what these people need is love.
What do you say? Harbinger of love and peace. That's what you
I'm
are.
the harbinger of love. I really do feel so like maybe they don't feel accepted too.
I mean, I guess they don't like themselves. Maybe. You also, I mean, if you are happy with who you are,
They also don't want to admit that they hate themselves. So they kind of like
have to hate something.
to protect themselves from this idea that I'm just hating myself.
Yeah.
A lot of times I can see how it ends up distorted, becoming like the whole I'm hating everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I can't remember which video I was watching, but yeah, basically we're trying to figure out how do we bring people out of all this. I don't think there was a conclusion. Otherwise, I would have remembered it.
how let's say now we have a let's say I use my that friend as an example, and I mean I didn't bother to do anything also because I guess like over time we are not that close anymore.
Yeah.
So we don't really talk to each other that much.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm in a journey that I want to help him change. Yeah. What do you think I could do to help him?
I don't know, leh. I don't know. I have no energy to think about it because I wouldn't bother.
Yeah. I'm just thinking cause
I'll just be like, maybe I just don't spend as much time with this person.
yeah, you see, then that itself will not solve any. I mean, it will protect ourselves, but then the conversation
It's
and
still
the
a problem,
community, the
yeah.
people who are like this will remain like that. So that's part.
Is
We
it
are
our
also part of the
responsibility?
problem, lah.
Yeah.
We are also part of the problem.
So is it
Yeah.
our responsibility to also build that healthier community?
I think one I would say first is we can start by not dismissing these people so
Actually,
quickly.
now that you say that, that's one of the things that I remember from when you deal with people who believe in conspiracy theories, they say don't force them to reject the worldview. Because then that already closes them off immediately.
Yeah.
I think when I was reading Reddit also because they were talking about
Yeah.
like don't deny their worldview because then they're even more like will pull back
They'll
from
push back.
listening
Yeah.
to you.
Yep. Yep.
And then they'll make them even already closed off to
Yeah,
listening.
because you can tell like conversations with them is not logical one. Like you cannot talk about, even if you have the strongest evidence, it will not change their mind because the decision is already made in their head. Yeah, so there are a lot of times also it's like the conversation will devolve to, are you an expert? Do you really did the research? You know, like how true is it? Then even if you're the expert, they're like, yeah, but how accurate? Who
Yeah.
knows that you are lying?
Yeah.
Who
And
knows
then-
you are
And then
fabricating
they could also
evidences?
say things like say, yeah, but like this is what I experienced and I know someone.
Yeah.
I know this person. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like first is I don't think so much about individuals, but as a society we don't dismiss them so quickly and dismiss them as like they are just stupid idiots, not logical, not capable of making logical logical conversation. Yeah, I think that's probably the first step. Like when conversations like this like online conversations like this, we don't immediately like ridicule them for thinking this way or saying it in a certain way. I think that's the first step lah. Yeah. Because in fact that itself is already a challenge lah. Yeah. Because I think it's very easy for us to dismiss people like this quite quickly lah. I think I'm also guilty of doing it sometimes in my head. Yeah. And to be honest, even if I don't dismiss them, I don't know what's the next step also.
Yeah.
Because I'm also like, okay, I just don't judge them for having thoughts like this. But then what's next? Engage with them. So it's very
Tiring.
mentally exhausting to engage with people like
Yeah.
this. Maybe make them feel more involved in if let's say this is a friend or important friend, maybe be more active with them, like, talk to them, have more conversations with them. Maybe they're just lonely, maybe they're just wanting to be accepted by a community. And those echo chamber provides a very good community
To support.
to
Yeah,
support each other.
yeah.
Like I say this thing, yeah, correct, exactly.
Yeah.
It feels nice to to be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This makes me think of, like, you know, now with the whole elections thing going on, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, sometimes you hear the oppositions and things they say. Then you're like,
Oh wait, by the way, this video might probably come out when the election is over.
yeah,
But
no.
election is happening now. The nomination is happening now.
yeah, voting next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, you know, all the things they say, like, yeah, all these rising, whatever. And then you also feel like, sometimes I catch myself thinking like, oh my God, like, they're just always saying the same things over and over again, like complaining about the same things. But the thing is that this is affecting actually probably a large group of people in Singapore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in terms of the difficulties they're facing in their everyday life.
Yeah.
It is true for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's true that they don't feel heard.
Yeah.
Right? And it's true that they feel maybe trapped, you know?
Yeah.
That's why they want someone who can say all these things and like find a solution for all this. So is it fair to just dismiss all these opposition parties as just like making noise? Actually, no, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's true that there are people who don't feel like the way Singapore is now works for them.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes there's something that I experience it myself. Is like, you know, when we sometimes we look at our life and what kind of opportunities we have, and then I mean, we are lucky enough that we get to travel. We are also open enough that we do read a lot of, like, watch a lot of news, or like be aware of like the state of the world. And sometimes we always talk about how we should, you know, compare our life with like people, you know, in the US who are like, you know, barely making by in huge student debts. Or we compare ourselves with like, you know, the situation in Ukraine. It's like, oh, Singapore, you know, we are very lucky. You complain so much for what? I feel like this can be true for some people, which they can like reflect and like, hey, you know, actually I realize the stability in Singapore is something that I appreciate a lot. Yeah. And as for me, I don't feel like I have anything to complain, because like Singapore may not be perfect, but it's really one of the best places to live in, despite of its problems. I mean, people can have conclusions like this, but to then sometimes people use this against people who are complaining a lot. I feel like it's not
productive.
Yeah, it's like telling why it's like dismissing again. It's very dismissive again when we use arguments like this to tell people, hey, you know, don't complain so much. You complain so what? But it's like you say, like these are the people who live here. They have this reality, and they are experiencing this. Yeah, and to say like you should not feel unhappy when they are unhappy is like,
what's the point?
yeah, right. It's not helpful. It's not helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's actually very good parallel when you talk about the election. It's actually,
because I mean, I also find myself like thinking like, oh my God, these people saying the same stupid shit over and over again. But then, I mean, I guess there's a reason why lah.
But I think the interesting thing about the thing about a government is this is going political already. Yeah, like the truth. Yeah, the truth is that they just need a majority vote, right? Or like most of the people are happy with the current government. They will stay in power. The PAP will stay in power. Do they need to make everybody happy? No. I mean, right now it seems to me that they are trying to make sure the middle income people are happy, and that takes out the bulk of Singapore. And as long as they can bring enough people into the middle income and keep it that way, and make this middle income people happy in general. I mean that's how democracy works, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to then.
But there's this stat that's been going around said by the opposition, which I haven't fact checked it, but I hope it's true since they are broadcasting it everywhere. Which is like, PAP only gets 60% of the votes.
But
then they control 90% of the government or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, so when you put it that way, it doesn't seem proportionate lah. You know.
I mean,
they still are majority, right? But like the proportion of power doesn't.
But you also can say the same thing with US elections.
With their politics.
The states, different states. If you aggregate the votes, is like the total votes is like it's also quite close to each other.
And also, I guess to be fair, to get things moving, you need to a majority works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't, if you are constantly debating with the opposition and like trying to whatever, then things are not gonna move also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair lah.
I mean, I also look at it also the other way is like, if you use the argument that 60% of the vote, then they have like, what, 80-90% of the house. My counter argument is that they could have 100% with 30% of the vote. Right? Like the system is there so that there's also still opposition representation.
Yeah.
If we just have like a one vote, then they win 60% vote, they win the entire. Also, don't make sense, what?
Yeah.
Unless you're saying, oh, based on percentage of votes, then you get the number of seats, which I don't know. I don't think that's how democracy works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder if you feel like things are shifting. I don't know. I feel like, because when you read history, dynasties will never ever last forever.
Yeah.
Like it will have to end one day.
Yeah.
So I just don't know where we're headed now.
I think for
but-
Singapore, at the end of the day, it depends on the world situation. I mean, I've been reading a lot about watching a lot of
The
the
Sarah
history,
Payne.
right?
Yeah.
Actually, one thing struck out to me is that we benefited a lot from a rules-based order. Meaning, and a key part of it is that a big country, a powerful country, cannot just make a smaller, weaker country do whatever it wants just because I'm bigger than you.
Yeah.
So everybody play by the rule, like I'm a sovereign country, you're a sovereign country.
I
We
respect you
negotiate,
even
we
though you're
talk,
smaller.
we
Yeah.
have institutions to work through. And as long as all these things work out, Singapore can exist.
Yeah.
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 The moment all this
Yeah.
collapse, which I don't know, may or may not happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. If those collapse, then Singapore will be in deep shit
Wiped
lah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what's gonna stop? I mean, our neighbors.
I mean,
If there are no rules, right?
that's why
Yeah.
it depends on how also Russia and China
Plays out.
do their whatever politics they're doing. Like the challenging part about those countries, from what I read, what I see, was that they are more the political parties who are in power, they are more concerned about staying in power
Oh, yeah.
than the well-being of their. Cause it's like it's very interesting lah, because this Sarah Payne, she's like very knowledgeable in all these topics.
Geopolitics.
I think one thing she pointed out was very interesting about China policies is that in terms of priorities, China's priorities is that first is to keep CCP in power. So if they are to sacrifice certain policies that will affect the livelihood of people in order to keep CCP in power, they are gonna do it. Yeah. So like current decisions about
Yeah.
escalating the trade war and blah blah
How
blah.
long CCP has been in power? I mean, if you look at China's own history, their dynasties never last. I wonder how
Yeah.
long they've been. Yeah.
The issue, okay lah, I don't know. This is a very interesting topic for me also, because history. we digress to this from incel to history, but there was also this very interesting this, is it called game theory? So there was this exercise that people did, like they submit games. It's like a decision making game. So they people send different programs, like different algorithms that you play against each other. So it's like the game is very simple. It's like A and B. If both parties collaborate, both will get 1 point each. If you collaborate
I've
and
heard
you
this,
don't want to collaborate, then the person who don't want to collaborate will get 3 points and you get 0. So they will just play out a series of games.
So actually, at the end, the most ideal scenario is you collaborate, right?
No. So the most so they have a lot of different strategies. People are submitting different strategy. The one that consistently did well is a strategy called tit for tat. Basically, if you collaborate, I will always collaborate.
But if you backstab, I will backstab.
You will if you don't want to collaborate, the next time onwards I will not collaborate. But it also gives that ability to go back. Meaning like if you decide to then collaborate now, then I will also collaborate. So it gives that ability to like fix it lah. Yeah, because there are some strategies like the moment you don't collaborate, I will just don't collaborate all the way. Yeah, so I mean you can see now the way that they are doing it, the way they're reacting to the US terrorists is quite interesting lah. Right, the China is just doing a tit for tat now. You raise, I raise also lor. You raise even further, I raise even further also. Yeah, so they're kind of like, I mean, it escalates lah to a point where hopefully they negotiate to meet things. But then like the other countries, they're not doing that. They're not escalating because they want to see as like a, I don't know, maybe they want to see as an anomaly.
Yeah.
If what US is doing and try to not escalate things first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how wars start though. I mean, in terms of escalation, right? Tit for tat.
Yeah, but I think war start in a, but now war
Wait,
is,
what's the term that you say? That she said wars are easy to start.
yeah, wars are
difficult
easy to
to
start,
end.
difficult to end.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know lah. Now the hope is that like now how interconnected the world is, we can't afford to go to war. But to another world war. But anyway, how do we even get here?
Yeah. I guess that's
see,
all.
this is why I always want to talk about history. I want to talk about Alexander the Great, but Kenneth doesn't.
I mean, we can talk about it, but you need to.
Yeah, I'll read up and then I'll tell you about him and why he's the one person that dead or alive I want to sit down and have a dinner with.
What about me? Who I want to sit down with?
Yeah. Dead or alive. Can be God, can be, I don't know,
God
Buddha.
don't exist, what I'm talking about. Oh, shout out to my Christian friends.
Easter! Hello! It just happened. He
Says
just
you
rose.
who only realized recently that Easter Sunday comes after Good Friday.
Yeah. I didn't know they were connected.
What? You
So he
in
died
your
on Friday and came alive on Sunday. Right? That's what you told me. And then the
In
8
fact,
is represent the rock. The rock rolling out. Right? That's what you
You know
said.
there are like nicer ways to say this.
Oh, resurrected.
He died on Friday and then he resurrected. He came back alive on Sunday. I was like, okay, go.
Wait, then, okay, where does the rabbits come in?
I don't know lah. People start. That one I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, but
But anyway, I learned that recently.
yeah, dead or alive, I don't know.
Dead or alive.
I don't really care. I just leave me alone. Let me just eat alone and play my Hearthstone. Anyway, thanks for listening. It's a very weird turn of conversation. Yeah, talk about election and suddenly you talk about
No, is that talking about incels first? And then whether
yeah.
people in
I
Singapore
think
are
like after
depressed.
that, then we go to elections and so on. But hope you guys enjoyed this conversation.
If there's anyone listening.
Yeah, there is a couple of you. If you listen to here, I know that Spotify started having a commenting option.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you can put comments in our podcast on Spotify now. So if you're a true fan, please go to Spotify and write some comment. Call me an incel or whatever.
What?
Yeah, shout out to. Okay, never mind. I don't know this.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't
do
this.
that.
This joke is not funny. Okay, thanks for listening and see you guys again.
Bye.
Bye bye.